Good morning, buenos días, Kahal Kadosh. Los primeros minutos va a ser en español y Be'ezat Hashem, como en 15-20 minutes, we'll switch to the English channel since we have, Baruch Hashem, a large contingency of South American visitors spending with us the final weeks of their winter break and our final weeks of the summer. En honor de los visitantes que están con nosotros hoy, Be'ezat Hashem, esperemos que todos la estén pasando bien en Miami y vamos a hacer los primeros minutos en español y después, Be'ezat Hashem, cambiamos al canal de inglés. Perashat Ekev, el tema de la Perashá o la palabra inicial de la Perashá nos da una indicación de cuál es el mensaje que la Perashá nos está dando hoy en estos días que estamos literalmente una semana antes de Rosh Chodesh Elul. Be'ezat Hashem, el próximo Shabbat y domingo es Rosh Chodesh Elul, la época de la Selihot, obviamente el momento de preparativos para Teshuvah y obviamente los días de Rosh Hashanah y Yom Kippur. La palabra Ekev en hebreo tiene muchos significados. Por ejemplo, en la Torá encontramos, cuando la Torá habla de Abraham Avinu, el pasuk dice, Ekev asher shama Abraham bekoli, por el hecho de que Abraham oyó a mi voz. Entonces vemos que la palabra Ekev significa por el hecho. Ekev en hebreo también significa el talón. Literalmente, la parte más baja del cuerpo humano a nivel físico, que se dice el pasuk, Rashi lo explica muy claramente en el comienzo de la Perashá. Leamos Rashi juntos, que dice Misvot Sheha'adam Dash Ba'akavav, las misvot leves que uno pisa con los talones. ¿Qué quiere decir? Que uno dice, en inglés se dice big deal, yani lo mashu mashu, o sea, ¿cuál es la gran cosa? Hasbe Shalom, la Torah nos dice que por prestarle atención a los pequeños detalles, la persona puede ser un keli, puede ser un objeto para recibir las verajot de Akadosh Baruj Hu. ¿Qué tipo de bendiciones la Torah garantiza a la persona por el cumplimiento de las misvot? No solamente misvot a nivel general, pero especialmente misvot que tienen que ver con el concepto de mishpatim y todas las diferentes misvot de la Torah. El pasuk dice, Vaeveja, Hashem te amará, te bendecirá, te multiplicará, bendecirá los frutos de tu vientre, de tus campos, de tus granos, de tus viñedos, de tus animales. Básicamente, todo lo que uno puede desear. También Hashem va a garantizar que no va a haber ningún hombre o mujer estéril en el cuerpo humano del pueblo de Israel, ni tampoco en los animales del ganado. Y Hashem quitará de ti todas las enfermedades y todas las cosas que le han pasado a Egipto no te vendrán sobre ti. Y la Torah continúa dando un montón de verajot súper interesantes. Ahora la pregunta es, ¿qué tipo de misvot la Torah está hablando en la cual la persona tiene que asegurarse de no overlook, como se dice, de no ser negligente en ella? Hace unos días estaba mandando un email a alguien y el email me volvió de vuelta 3 veces. Y Baruch Hashem, y hoy el email somos amigos hace por lo menos 20 años. Así que Baruch Hashem, el email, hoy todo el mundo usa email. O sea, ¿quién no usa email? La mayoría de la gente usa. Y interesante que el email me volvió 3 veces. Entonces, yo estaba utilizando una computadora que no era mía, así que no tenía la dirección en el memory, como uno escribe 3 letras y aparece. Y de repente me doy cuenta que me faltó de colocar un puntito. En vez de poner gmail.com, puse gmail.com. Entonces uno se pregunta, big deal. ¿Por qué? ¿Porque me olvidé un puntito? Claro, si uno escribe un cheque de 1000 o escribe de 100, la diferencia es un 0. O donde uno pone el punto o donde uno pone la coma. Quiere decir que el detalle hace una gran diferencia. Mismo a nivel de cuestiones de salud. También los números hacen una diferencia. Un número más encima, un número más abajo, etc. Pero ayer estaba estudiando el Zohar de la Perashá de esta semana el Hokle Israel de ayer. Y quisiera compartir muy brevemente, no voy a ir con todos los detalles porque va a tomar más del tiempo para esta clase en español, pero quiero solamente leer lo que dice el Zohar, cómo la casa de un yehudí o la mesa de un yehudí tiene que verse en Shabbat. Y no estamos hablando de la comida o el menú. Cada uno come en su forma, de acuerdo a la tradición familiar, de acuerdo a lo que se cocina para este Shabbat. Pero hay 10 componentes, dice el Zohar Kadosh, que son necesarios que se encuentren, o 10 pasos, podríamos decir, que son necesarios que se encuentren en la mesa de cada yehudí sin excepción. No importa de dónde uno es, no importa si uno sigue una tradición Shami o Halevi o Tetuán o Tangerino o de Casablanca. La Torá es la Torá y por lo menos dice el Zohar Kadosh lo siguiente. Dice el Zohar Kadosh en el Hok de ayer que a través de la mesa de Shabbat uno trae gran verajá a toda la semana de la persona. ¿Qué quiere decir? El Zohar nos introduce diciendo que el Shabbat no es el fin de la semana. Hoy es viernes. De acuerdo al Zohar, ahora estamos acabando la semana que empezó el Shabbat pasado. Y el único motivo por qué en Mosaé Shabbat decimos Shavua Tov es solamente porque el sábado a la noche, después que acabamos Arbit y la Abdalá, empieza el mundo físico, financiero, comercial. Pero la semana verdaderamente comienza viernes de noche con el Shabbat y esas 24, 25 horas del Shabbat bendicen a toda la semana entrante. Que el mundo exterior llama viernes, sábado, domingo, lunes capaz, fin de semana, eso para pasajes, para hoteles, para viajes. Pero a un punto de vista espiritual, la semana está acabando en unas horitas más y hoy de noche damos la bienvenida a la semana nueva. Dice el Zohar Kadosh, ahora que no tenemos el Mizbeach, que no tenemos el altar en el Bet HaMikdash, que una persona podría acercar ciertos korbanot, la Gemara dice, Ashulhan, la mesa de un yehudí trae perdón a la persona. Dice el Zohar Kadosh, hay 10 pasos que la persona tiene que hacer el viernes de noche. Los voy a escribir aquí brevemente, no los voy a mostrar en público. No están escritos en el orden capaz que nosotros hacemos las cosas en nuestra casa hoy, pero es importante saber. Dice el Zohar Kadosh, primer paso, Netilat Yadayim, lavarse las manos antes de comer pan. Clarísimo. Segundo paso, tenés 2 panes en la mesa. Eso en la halajá se llama Lehem Mishneh. ¿Por qué Lehem Mishneh? Porque las 2 panes no solamente demuestran en cierta forma cómo era el pan del Bet HaMikdash, pero el Zohar Kadosh dice que los 2 jalot o los 2 panes que uno hace a motzi en el día de Shabbat son las 2 tablas de la ley. Y los 10 dedos que aguantan el pan, cuando uno hace a motzi, vamos a suponer, Hamavdil, que estos son 2 jalot, uno junta los panes, ¿y cómo los aguantamos? Dice el Ben Ishai, con los 10 dedos. Con 10 dedos, dice el Ben Ishai, que estos 10 dedos, ¿qué demuestran? Dice el Zohar, en verdad. Los 10 mandamientos, Aseret Hadiberot, y las 2 jalot, las 2 tablas de la ley. Shte Luhot Haberit. Seguimos, muchachos. Número 3, comer 3 seudot. Mucha gente cena, mucha gente almuerza, y Baruch Hashem, a medida que pasan los años, más y más y más y más gente en todo el mundo hacen Seudá Shelishit con pan. Y hay un motivo por qué hacer la Seudá Shelishit con pan. Aparte del Birkat Hamazon y todas las Berajot, el Zohar explica que cada Seudá de Shabbat se conecta con Abraham, Isaac y Jacob. La cena se conecta con Isaac Avinu, el almuerzo con Abraham Avinu y Jacob Avinu, Seudá Shelishit. Interesantemente, el Zohar llama Seudá Shelishit Ra'avin de Ra'avin, yani el mejor momento del Shabbat. ¿Por qué? Porque es la última hora del Shabbat, generalmente cuando Seudá Shelishit pasa en nuestro día después de Minha, etc. Continúa el Zohar Kadosh. Número 4. Las velas de Shabbat. Las velas de Shabbat. ¿Cuántas velas uno enciende en honor de Shabbat? Mínimo 2. Mínimo 2. Hay gente, no hay obligación alágico, pero hay gente que enciende más que 2. Hay gente que enciende 7. Hay gente que enciende vela para cada miembro de la familia, etc. No importa, pero mínimo requisito de las velas son 2 velas. El Ben Ish Hai explica que la misvá de las velas, primero que es una takanat hajamim, segundo, dice el Ben Ish Hai, que ¿por qué se encienden 2 velas? La explicación básica es Zahor Beshamor. Zahor et Yom HaShabbat, recuérdate el día del Shabbat y cuida el Shabbat. ¿Qué significa recordarse y cuidar? Muy simple. Hay 2 formas de observar Shabbat. No solamente todo lo que hago, pero sino también lo que no hago. ¿Qué quiere decir? Que una persona va al Knis en Shabbat y después va a la casa y ve televisión, no se llama que está observando el Shabbat. ¿Me explico? O sea, está jugando, está comiendo kasher en la casa y taré fuera de la casa. O sea, lo que la halajá dice en la Torá, Zahor Beshamor. Hay 2 formas de observar el Shabbat. Todo lo positivo que uno puede hacer, lo que uno tiene que hacer y las limitaciones. Ahí cuando se juntan los 2 componentes, tenemos el concepto de Zahor y Shamor muy claramente. Pero dice el Ben Ish Hai que la misvá de encender las velas de Shabbat fue dada especialmente para la mujer judía. ¿Por qué? Por el abón de Adán y Javá al principio de la creación del mundo. Pero dice el Ben Ish Hai una cosa fascinante. Dice, sabemos que en hebreo existe el concepto de gimatriot, del valor numérico de palabras. Y él dice, la palabra vela en hebreo, numéricamente hablando, tiene el valor de 250. 250 ner, 250 la otra vela, en total 500. ¿Qué es 500? Dice el Ben Ish Hai. Interesantemente, las partes del cuerpo humano. El hombre tiene 248 partes del cuerpo humano, la mujer tiene 252 partes del cuerpo humano. Cuando se juntan 252 más 248, ¿cuánto nos da? 500, que es el valor numérico de las 2 velas que la mujer enciende en honor de Shabbat. Quiere decir que la mujer no solamente enciende las velas por ella, pero ella enciende las velas también para el bienestar espiritual del marido. Muy claramente, seguimos. Después tenemos el próximo paso, es el concepto de hacer kiddush. Yom HaShishi Vaychulu HaShamayim VeHaaretz Bechol Sevaam Mizvat Aseh Mideoraita. Hacer kiddush viernes de noche es un mandamiento positivo de la Torá. Tomar vino fue establecido por los hajamim, pero el hecho del kiddush es una mizvat aseh de la Torá. No solo, el próximo paso, hay más lo que decir en este tema, pero lo voy a dejar para otro día, ya que el próximo minyan va a estar aquí en unos minutitos más. El próximo paso, dice el Zohar Kadosh, estudiar Torá en la mesa de Shabbat, que es una cosa necesaria para hacer, no solamente para la kedushá del Shabbat. Pero obviamente, mesa que se dice palabras de Torah, tiene un nivel de kedushá mucho más elevado de una mesa que la gente come, charla, etc. y no hay palabras de Torah. ¿Qué decir en la mesa de Shabbat? Lo que uno quiera de decir. Mucha gente compran libros y leen un capítulo del libro, no sé, ¿hay libros en español de la Perashá? Hay muchos libros en español, me está diciendo aquí el doctor, aquí el rabino Yosef de Israel, que se especializa en hacer libros en español muy didácticos, muy educativos y muy elegantes, muy coloridos, que hay de todos los temas. Claro, lo mejor de Israel de hebreo se traduce al español con el mismo diseño gráfico, etc. Si uno no se acuerda o no tiene acceso a los libros, que trate de decir algo que oyó en el CNIS. Si no, hay Baruch Hashem mucha Torah disponible hoy para compartir en la mesa. La número 7. La número 7, dice el Zohar HaKadosh, dice asegurarse de que haya gente necesitada en la mesa de uno en Shabbat. Este paso no sé cuán fácil o cuán práctico es, pero capaz que se puede explicar al nivel nuestro de hoy, de asegurarse que la gente necesitada de la comunidad tenga lo que necesite para Shabbat. Capaz que en otros lugares se puede explicar traer a alguien que no tiene donde comer, por ejemplo. Eso es muy común. A veces pasa en lugares que la gente no tiene donde comer. Obviamente en nuestra comunidad hay mucho turismo y en muchos lugares, en muchos hoteles, etc. Pero siempre hay gente suelta que podría beneficiarse de una comida adecuada para el concepto de Shabbat. El número 8, dice el Zohar HaKadosh, lavarse Maim Aharonim. Maim Aharonim, sabemos que es el lavado especialmente establecido para nuestros hajamim, antes que uno, decimos en Agdishach, Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh. En la Amidá, cuando dice el Hazan, Agdishach, etc. Un primer Kadosh, Netilat Yadayim, cuando viene para comer pan. El segundo Kadosh, lavarse las manos entre el pescado y la carne, como mucha gente lo hace. Esto se llama en la halajá Maim Emsaim, las aguas del medio. Y después tenemos Maim Aharonim, Maim Aharonim Jobá. El Zohar explica por qué se dicen estas palabras. Maim Aharonim Jobá. Maim, entiendo. Aharonim son las últimas. Jobá, ¿qué significa en español? Obligación. Interesante que en Mitzvot de la Torah no decimos Anahat Tefilin Jobá. ¿Qué decimos? Anahat Tefilin. Likboa Mezuzá. ¿Por qué en Maim Aharonim se dice la palabra Jobá? Explicamos que la palabra Jobá significa obligatorio, no hay opción. Hay dos motivos. En verdad hay más que dos motivos. Pero hoy, para el público que está desde tiempo aquí sentado escuchando Torah, le voy a dar dos motivos. Primero, ¿por qué se estableció hacer Maim Aharonim? La Gemara explica para prevenir la ceguera. ¿Por qué? Porque en el antaño, en los siglos pasados, gran mayoría de la sal venía de Sedom. Gracias. Y Sedom, y la sal se utilizaba para conservar, mismo para cocinar, por más que hoy uno no cocina con la sal tanto, pero sabemos que la sal tiene un efecto en la comida. Entonces, el temor de los hajamim era que las personas, al estar en contacto constante con la sal, tomen los dedos y se los froten en los ojos, y eso, haz shalom, puede causar ceguera física a la persona. Pero sabemos que hoy Sedom ni se sabe dónde está en el mapa. Sí, está cerca de Israel. Pero hoy la sal no viene necesariamente de Sedom, pero tenemos una ley que dice en la Gemara, Hamirá sakantá mi isura. Es más prohibitivo o es más duro una prohibición por peligro físico que una prohibición de la Torah. ¿Qué quiere decir? Ya que todo el tema de Mai Maharonim fue hecho para prevenir la ceguera del ser humano, por lo tanto, eso requiere que la persona sea cuidadosa y no ser negligente en el tema de Mai Maharonim. El Zohar explica y dice una cosa muy, pero muy interesante. El Zohar explica, y déjeme ver si lo vi aquí o lo vi en otro libro, diciendo que la palabra Jobá es el nombre de una de las fuerzas de cómo se juzga a la persona. Porque Jobá, ¿de qué palabra viene? Hayab. ¿Qué significa en hebreo Hayab? Culpable. Atá Hayab li kesef. Tú me debes plata. Atá Hayab le shalem. Quiere decir que la palabra Jobá viene de la palabra Hayab. En inglés se dice guilty, culpable. ¿Culpable de qué? De comer demasiado. Por eso la netilat yadayim que se hace antes de comer pan es con agua hasta la muñeca y se levanta las manos y se dice una verajá y Mai Maharonim es solamente la punta de los dedos y es agua de tum'á. Quiere decir, Netilat Yadayim se puede conectar con Yaakov Avinu y Mai Maharonim se conecta con Esav. Y el paso número 10, dice el Zohar HaKadosh, Kos Shel Berajá. Kos Shel Berajá, eso se aplica solamente cuando hay zimun. Si no hay zimun, no hay Kos Shel Berajá. Pero si hay zimun, mucha gente tiene esta tradición muy linda que vamos a clarificar. No es obligatoria, pero sí trae mucho beneficio a la persona. Entonces, déjeme contar aquí. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Me faltaron 2. Dije kosher berajá. Ah, claro, obviamente, no doy vuelta a la hoja. Birkat Hamazon, que en verdad es una de las misvot que se aprende en la perashá de esta semana. En la perashá dice, Beajaltá, Besabato, Berachta, et Hashem Elokeja, la misvá ta'aseh de la Torah de decir, Birkat Hamazon. Déjenme verificar si no me faltó alguna. Netilat Yadayim lo dije. Zimun con 3 se hace kos, exacto. Panes, hablé. Sí, bien. Netilat Yadayim lo dije. Panes de Shabbat lo dije. Tris Udot lo dije. Los pobres lo dije. Mai Maharonim lo dije. Kosher Berajá lo dije. Y Birkat Hamazon lo dije. Señores, estos son los 10 pasos que el Zohar sugiere en la perashá de hoy. Ahora, ¿cuántos de estos pasos hacemos? No me contesten. Esto lo voy a dejar para que ustedes se ocupen de pensar un poquito. Divrei Torah. Netilat Yadayim, panes, 3 saudot con pan, velas, kiddush, palabras de Torah, ayudar a los necesitados, Mai Maharonim, Kosher Berajá y Birkat Hamazon. Estos son los 10 pasos que el Zohar recomienda que en la casa de cada yehudí se encuentren cada viernes de noche. Si los hacemos, Hazaku Baruch. Y si por algún motivo alguno nos faltó, este Shabbat Perashat Ekev es el momento ideal. I'm switching to English in 1 minute. Es el momento ideal para reforzar nuestra observancia del Shabbat y no minimizar que cada paso y cada mitzvah y cada acción adicional que uno hace para las mitzvot estamos solamente acortando nuestra distancia de Akadosh Baruj Hu. Como dice, creo en el nombre de Sefer Hasidim, Maaseja y Ekarebuja, Umaaseja y Rahakuja. Las acciones de un ser humano pueden distanciar a la persona de Hashem, Hazve Shalom, pero las acciones del ser humano, cuando son buenas, cuando son positivas, cuando tienen Kedushá, acortan la distancia entre la persona y Akadosh Baruj Hu. Voy a interrumpir la grabación en español y nos vamos directamente al programa de inglés. Shabbat Shalom a todos. Hazak más. Ok, señores. I know, you can take a picture of it. Shabbat Shalom Mevorach. Deme 30 segundos. I'm doing an English version. It's going to be, in English will be a bit longer.
It's okay, I sent it to my son. Okay.
Yes, in English will be a drop longer because it's early enough and I wasn't here for a bit. So I'm sure you had great classes. Okay? This is all these new names now? Estos son del... Okay, beautiful. Hay un cartel en la otra mesa con el nombre, ¿me lo puede pasar? Okay. No, I need it. ¿Qué fecha es hoy? 22 de Av. Good morning, Kahal Kadosh, Erev Shabbat Kodesh, Perashat Ekev, Makam Siga, Shabbat Mevarchim, Chodesh Elul, Hava Alenu, Letova, Be'ezat Hashem. The Lighthouse Torah Project dedication לעילוי נשמת דבורה פייגה בת שמואל, אורה דבורה בת שמואל, לאה בת יוסף, and Esther Rivka bat Avraham. The iTorah.com sponsorship dedicated for the shidduchim of Nehamadina bat Hanabatia, Rachel Penina bat Jenny, Sarasim Habat Sofi, and Eliyahu Haim ben Esther. The Edmond J. Safra Synagogue breakfast and class sponsored by Mr. Abraham Levy and family לעילוי נשמת Haim Levi Bet Simcha, his dear father, Yiratzon, that the words of Veracha and Torah will be an Ilui Neshama. It is good to be back. Baruch Hashem, I had a very busy week in Deal, New Jersey, West Deal, New Jersey, Bangor, Maine, Bar Harbor, Maine. But Baruch Hashem, I'm happy to be back. Don't ask me, but I was there, yes, and I stayed an extra day due to the inclement weather condition. But Baruch Hashem, I'm happy to be back. And I hope that Baruch Hashem, everything went smoothly during my absence. I'll take the opportunity publicly to say thank you to the West Deal Synagogue on the Charlie Saka and Rabbi Kassin and the Cohen family for giving us and our president a magnificent Shabbat with plenty of Torah, plenty of classes, and obviously highlighted by the visit of Chief Rabbi Amar from Israel, and as well as the warm reception at the Deal Synagogue this past Sunday. Ben Porat Yosef, it is so great to see Baruch Hashem, Yehudim coming all over, unbelievable Torah learning, Torah classes, so definitely a very uplifting and meaningful visit. Now I'm going to give you the expanded English version of today's class. For those who listened to the Spanish class before, I'd like to say the same thing, but with more seasoning and more condiments, since it's the English class. So let's go quickly to the title of today's Torah portion. We know that the titles, like the name of a person, can tell us the personality of the person. The Gemara writes, Shemah Garim. That's a reason why in the night of Rosh Hashanah, we eat food that perhaps from a food perspective may not make a difference, but the name of the food in Hebrew creates a scenario of blessing, protection, and salvation to the person's life. The name of the perashah carries the same weight. For example, this week's Torah portion, it's called Ekev. What's the meaning of the word Ekev? Depends who you ask. Akev, if you look in the Torah, the word Akev is found, for example, one word, perasha in Sefer Bereshit, Abraham Avinu. Akev asher shama Abraham bekoli. Since or due to the fact that Abraham Avinu listened to my voice. Our rabbis tell us that from this word Akev, numerical value 172, the Torah is hinting us that Abraham Avinu recognized Hashem from the age of 3 years old. Because Abraham Avinu lived 175. Akev 172. So from 0 to 3, Abraham was looking for Hashem, so to speak. That is one pirush. Let's skip all the way to this week's Torah portion. What's the meaning of the word Akev? Yes, thank you. From the left field. Okay, the virtual students. I'm happy to be back too. Thank you. Anyways, so what's the meaning of Akev? So let's look in Rashi. And Rashi says, Behaya Akev tishme'un, mizvot sheha'adam dash ba'akavav. Yani, this means mizvot, that a person steps upon them with their heel. So what do we understand? That the word Akev means, Shalom Aleichem, Baruch Haba. The word Akev means in English heel. For the foreign audience, in English, heel and heel means different things. Heel, H-E-E-L, that means the lower part of the human body, right? El talón in Spanish. Heel, H-E-A-L, means to heal someone. Refuah shelema. I must give this pirush because I have people from all over, and I want to make sure that nobody misunderstands what I'm trying to achieve. So Rashi says, the mitzvot that we usually neglect, they become the foundation of our blessings. What blessings is the Torah referring to? So the Pasuk brings a lineup of blessings. Number one, Hashem will love us. And Hashem will bless us financially. And Hashem will bless us with children. And Hashem will bless our fields, our grains, our vineyards, our olive fields, our oils, the birth of our animals, and the great quality of the animals that we have on the land of Israel. And Hashem will make sure that everyone is fruitful, meaning to say there will not be barren individuals, male or female, in the humans and in the animal kingdom as well. So we see right here, just the berachot continue, and Hashem will remove from you all the illnesses, etc. Now, what mitzvot can be the source of tremendous amount of blessing? This is better than buying a Powerball ticket or a Mega Money ticket. This is better. Why? Because we already are doing the mitzvot. But interesting enough, mitzvot can be fulfilled in many ways. I flew on an airplane a few times since Thursday till today with a stopover. Baruch Hashem, we accept whatever happens as being predestined from Shamayim. Maybe I didn't spend enough money in Maine, so I have to stay an extra night and rent a car for another day. Okay, no. Anyways, but a beautiful place. You come in contact with nature. What was I doing in Maine? My son-in-law and daughter spent the summers there because of business reasons, so I went to see them. Anyways, so to make a long story short, in an airplane, how many different levels of seats do you have? Unbelievable. I went online to pick the seat, and they gave me more options than an ice cream store. First class, business class, premium economy, limited recline, preferred, aisle, window, center, emergency. Yani 10 options. And every option you click, you gotta pay. You gotta pay. Thank God I'm a nice guy, so I got an aisle seat for free. At least on the way in. The way back, I have to pay for it. You understand? Unbelievable. But I ask you a question. Does it make a difference? It does. But at the end of the day, in the purpose of landing in a certain city, everybody lands irrelevant of where you were sitting in the airplane. More comfortable, less comfortable. So I think that the Torah message is, don't just get by doing the mitzvah. Try to do the mitzvah in the best suitable way that a person can, based on their knowledge, based on their awareness, based on their possibilities. And details do make a difference. For example, I said before, I was sending someone an email. I was using the hotel's computer, and I was sending somebody an email that I wasn't able to open on my cell phone, but I was able to open on the desktop. And I'm sending an email, and the email is bouncing every time I'm sending the email. And you know me, email and I go back at least 20 years. We have this relationship, okay? Unbelievable. And yet, every time I'm sending the email, it's bouncing back. By the third time, I said, let me retype again the email address. And I see that I'm typing exactly the way it should be. To make a long story short, by the fourth or fifth trial, I realized that after the email address at gmail.com, I did not put the .com. I put gmail.com. I ask you a question. What, the computer doesn't know that Gmail is gmail.com? You can be a bit friendly, but the computer says no. If you don't have the proper amount of characters or the proper dot after the word Gmail or Hotmail or whatever platform you use, that email will bounce back. Okay. With that being said, I'd like to share with the Kahal. I'm not sure what did you learn yesterday. And if you already heard this yesterday, I'll give you my 2 cents additional. And if you did not, so we have something fascinating to share with the Kahal Kadosh. The Zohar of yesterday talks about the necessary steps of a proper Shabbat night dinner in our homes. What was it considered a proper Shabbat dinner in a Jewish home? How many steps are required for a Shabbat night should be considered good? I cannot say the word excellent, because excellent, the sky is the limit. But let's see what the Zohar gives us, the 10 steps required for a Shabbat dinner. I repeat, 10 steps. Professor, can you make sure, Rabotai, se está grabando? Thank you. Thank you. Baruch, אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהכל נהיה בדברו. Before we go to the 10 steps, let's understand Shabbat, and let's understand the blessing of Shabbat. The Zohar writes that Shabbat is the foundation of the entire week. Even though that for the outside world, Friday afternoon, Saturday, Sunday is considered weekend days. But from a Torah perspective, the week actually, it's concluding in a few hours. Shabbat is the foundation of the week, and Sunday is the first day of the work week. That's the reason why we say Shavua Tov Umevorach on Mosa'e Shabbat, or the way our Ashkenazic brothers say, Agut Tevoch. Agut Tevoch, yo. Agut Tevoch, mit broche atzloche. Gezun un naches un chein. Let's switch back to the Sephardic channel, please. Anyways, we say, have a good week. Why do we say, have a good week Saturday night? Short answer, because Saturday night, Mosa'e Shabbat, is the first hour of the financial week. Shabbat and money don't talk to each other. Yeah, when you go to the Torah, you give a donation, that's it. But we don't touch money, we don't speak about business, so we understand the limitations of money and the limitations of the day of Shabbat. But the Zohar says, Mineh mitbarechin kol yemei shiv'ah. From the sanctity, from the holiness of the Shabbat, the entire week receives the beracha. Beautiful. With that being said, when we welcome the Shabbat, it's not just a day that I'm not going to work. Actually, Shabbat, in a way, it's renewing my commitment and reestablishing my connection with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Like this wire. You see this before. I have the mic and I have the receiver. This is the machine and this is the microphone. This is the connector. If these two things are not connected from the mic to the receiver, you will not be able to hear me properly. Look at this cord like the umbilical cord. I apologize to the wonderful ladies. That connects the mother with the baby. Whatever the mother eats, the baby eats. Whatever the mother drinks, the baby drinks. And as long as that the mother and the baby are connected, there is life for both of them. And birth means separation. So we understand that our connector with HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the day of Shabbat. Having this in mind, okay, I'm in. Tell me what to do. So the Zohar says, I'm going to tell you what to do. I'm going to give you an exercise of 10 steps that a person should do in honor of Shabbat. I wrote them quickly in Hebrew, right here, but I'm not expecting to remember. But I'm going to speak about them verbally to understand the meaning and the purpose, Be'ezat Hashem, of each and every one of them. I'm going to say them quickly, and then I'm going to open them up accordingly. Number one, washing of the hands prior eating bread. Number two, having 2 chalot on the Shabbat table. Number 3, making 3 seudot with bread on Shabbat. Number 4, candle lighting. Number 5, kiddush, making kiddush Friday night. Number 6, saying words of Torah on the Shabbat table. Number 7, making sure to have needy people on the table, or I added perhaps assisting financially needy people. Number 8, doing Maima Haronim before Birkat Hamazon. Number 9, reciting Birkat Hamazon. And number 10, utilizing Kos Shel Beracha. Kos Shel Beracha means that when you have 3 people and you make Zimun on Friday night, you should hold the cup of wine in your hands, and at the end, like you do in a Shiva Berachot, you say the blessing of the Geffen. On a Friday night, according to the Zohar Kadosh, you should do this. I will clarify that the way the Zohar writes them is not the way we do them. And I don't know the reason why the Zohar reversed the order. I may know, but I don't want to travel to the outside worlds of basic understanding. But let's try to read each and every one of them and the symbolism that each and every one of them represents. Let's start with number one. I wrote this before, so it will be easier for me to speak and record simultaneously. So we talk about Netilat Yadayim. Netilat Yadayim, the washing of our hands. We know that Hachamim established, and the Zohar Kadosh explains, Hachamim established the concept of Netilat Yadayim, the concept of having the hands purified and clean before we say Berachot. But let's review quickly some of these halachot. First of all, and this is important to know because I'm highlighting the way of washing our hands before eating bread, and I'm going to talk simultaneously right after Ma'im Haronim, just to illustrate the difference between both washing of the hands. The washing of the hands for bread. I'm sure everybody does this, and I'm sure everybody knows how to do it, but just in case, we may have somebody that may not remember the difference of washing, so let's review quickly. Washing for bread, 3 times to the right, 3 times to the left. Washing of the hands for bread needs to cover up to the wrist of the person. Then we rub our hands and we raise our hand, the right a bit over the left, and we say the Beracha, Baruch Ata Hashem, Asher Kideshanu al Netilat Yadayim. Ma'im Haronim, I'm going towards the end. Ma'im Haronim is completely the opposite. Ma'im Haronim, the water goes down. In Netilah, we raise our hand for the blessing. Ma'im Haronim, we usually do it into a small container, and we only wet our fingertips, and we say, Ma'im Haronim Hoba. The final washing of the water is mandatory. Why do we say that? Stay tuned for the end of the class, because that is step number 8. I'm still holding in number 1. I apologize if I'm going to go in overtime, but I gave you a break for a whole week. So I think that I'm entitled to get a few extra minutes. But you, all of you are very wonderful people of the Kahal, so bear with me for a few moments. So, we did the Netilat Yadayim to eat bread. Then the Zohar says, one more thing before I move forward. It is beneficial for the person to wash Netilat Yadayim for bread with abundant amount of water as a sign of Hashem's bountiful blessing on the person's life. Why? Because in the word Al Netilat Yadayim, there is a hint about poverty. Al Netilat Yadayim. Al Netilat Yadayim, Rashi Tevot, Ani, poor. So a person who wants to truly enjoy Hashem's blessings, don't be skimpy when it comes to washing of the hands. Sometimes people, and the Ben Ish Hai brings it down, that when we wash our hands for bread, make sure, I'm not going to spill the water, but make sure that the hands gets completely covered. Sometimes people do like this, and guess what? Water covers only half of the hand. So therefore the Ben Ish Hai says, move your hands so the entire hand will be covered with water. That's on the Netilat Yadayim department. Then we have, the Zohar Kadosh writes, we have 2 chalot, or 2 pita breads. Some people, minority, have the Kabbalistic tradition of placing 12 breads on the table. This is based on the writing of Rabbeinu Ha'ari. We're not going to speak about this today. We'll save it for some other time. But we all know that even if you put 12 halot or 12 mini piras, you make hamossi only on 2 breads. Why 2? The Zohar explains. Because the 2 breads represents shete luchot haberit, the 2 tablets. So when we take these 2 halot, let's make believe that we have the 2 halot. I put them together back to back so they look exactly the same. So I'm holding it with the 10 fingers. Guess what? The 2 halot represents the 2 tablets. And the 10 fingers represents the 10 commandments. Aseret hadiberot. So look at this. Just by holding these 2 breads like this, I'm back in Mount Sinai. I'm celebrating Shavuot every Shabbat of my life. The reason why, additionally, why we have 2 breads on Shabbat, the reason why we have 2 breads on Shabbat is not only to remind us of the double portion of man that came down on Friday. We all know very well that man was not available during Shabbat, but the man came double portion on Friday. Also, the duality or the double bread reminds us of the lechem hapanim. The lechem hapanim was the bread in the time of the Beit HaMikdash that was replaced every Friday afternoon. And the beautiful part of this bread was that from the top and the bottom look exactly the same. That's why it's called lechem hapanim. Panim means face. The face from the left and the face from the right are exactly the same. This is how HaKadosh Baruch Hu made, so to speak. I mean, this is how the Torah describes, or rather, how the lechem hapanim was. Top and bottom look exactly the same. And one more reason, if you look at the days of the week, we have 7 days. And we have the topic, and I'm not going to go too deep into this, the topic of zugot. Zugot means pairs. For example, Sunday, Friday, Monday, Thursday, Tuesday, Wednesday. This is how the days are partners. But then you have Shabbat. Shabbat says, I'm by myself. Borei Olam says, you're right. But my children, Am Israel, are by themselves. So Shabbat and Am Israel became a zug, became a partner, became a couple. So the Zohar HaKadosh writes that when we take this challah, number 1, and challah number 2, we are renewing, so to speak, the commitment that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave to Shabbat and gave to Am Israel. That's why the concept of Shabbat, the Pasuk says, Beni uben Bnei Israel ot hi le'olam. Shabbat is a gift only for Am Israel and not for the rest of the world. Continues the Zohar HaKadosh. We talk about the candles, we talk about Mehillah, the Chalot, we talk about Netilah. Now we're holding number 3, the 3 Se'udot of Shabbat. We know the Se'udah of Shabbat, each one corresponds to one of the Abot. Friday night dinner, Shabbat dinner, Ishak Avinu. Shabbat lunch, Avraham Avinu. Se'udah Shelishit, Yaakov Avinu. The Zohar HaKadosh explains the concept of Se'udah Shelishit. The Zohar HaKadosh, Mehillah, I skip one paragraph, just 1 second. Mehillah, right here. The Gemara writes in Masechet Shabbat, Yichelki im gombre shalosh Se'udot of Shabbat. It says, let it be the zechut of the person to bring great Kedusha through the eating of the Se'udot of Shabbat. I'm going to take you into a spiritual journey. And the Zohar explains, the Amidah of Shabbat contains how many berachot? 7. Weekdays 19, Shabbat, Hamidah 7. So the Zohar Kadosh writes and it says, we have 7 berachot of the Shabbat prayer. We have 3 seudot. Now, what number do I have? 10. What the 10 represents, the Zohar explains, the 10 sefirot. Sefirot, in plain English, can be explained as the 10 sparks, in English, of holiness that emanate from Hashem into the world. 3 are intellectual, chokhmah, binah, da'at, wisdom, knowledge, understanding. Then we have the 7 emotional sefirot, Hesed, Geburah, Tiferet, Nesach, Hod, Yesod, Malchut. Each one is a shiur by itself, but basically kindness, strictness, beauty, kingdom, foundation of holiness, etc. And the Zohar Kadosh writes and it says that these 3 seudot plus the 7 berachot bring us the 10 sefirot, and then it brings me the concept of oneg. Bekarata la Shabbat oneg. You will call the day of Shabbat a day of enjoyment. The Zohar Kadosh writes and it says, what's the meaning of the word oneg? What's the meaning of the word enjoyment on Shabbat? Rashi Tevot from the words that says, Nahar Eden Gan. Nahar Yotze me'eden le'ashkot et hagan. This refers in Sefer Bereshit how the rivers and the oceans of the world became about in existence. So the Zohar says, when you take these 3 words, Nahar, which is a river, Eden, and Gan, the Zohar says elsewhere that Gan and Eden are 2 different locations and 2 different levels. One is called Gan and one is called Eden. But let's be honest, in a funny way, many people consider our city like a Gan Eden. So the way we talk, we say Gan Eden. Okay? Gan Eden. Gan Eden. But the Zohar says that the Shabbat can bring blessings to the person's life like the Eden brought water into the world. The continuation of this pasuk refers to the 4 rivers. The 4 rivers, Asher Shama Zahav, Gihon, Hidekel, Perat, and there is one Pishon, the 4 rivers. And the Zohar says that a person, I'm embarrassed to say, not embarrassed, I shouldn't be embarrassed, but I'm uncomfortable to say what the next paragraph the Zohar says. I'm not comfortable, but you want me to say it, right? I know. I wasn't asking, I was going to say. This was a preemptive statement, just in case. So you are sitting down, put on your seat belts, put on the bulletproof vest, and relax. Let me do the talking. I need to put this in writing better. Let's look. You're sitting down, Hazak. Let's look at the first word on top. I need this. Bekarata la Shabbat oneg. This is the word oneg. What's the meaning of oneg? Enjoyment. No minhag, oneg. Enjoyment. Disfrutar. Placer. Celebration. But the same 3 letters gives you the word nega. Nega sara'at. Kihiye ba'adam. An illness. So which one is Shabbat? Is Shabbat enjoyment? Is Shabbat pleasure? Or Shabbat is a headache? It's depending on the person. the person can make Shabbat a great day, or a person can make Shabbat an unhappy day. The Zohar HaKadosh says that a person who is not careful in doing 3 se'udot of Shabbat is minimizing the sanctity of Shabbat Kodesh, because he's missing one number. You have 9. You're missing number 10, which is the Sefirah of Malchut. Malchut is our direct connection with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And we're not saying, Haz v'shalom. You can erase that. Thank you. We're not saying that even if a person doesn't feel well, should force themselves to have Sa'udah Shelishit. But regretfully speaking, many people take a shortcut when it comes to Sa'udah Shelishit. And actually, I will tell you one thing that may sound as a shocker to the audience. Kabbalistically speaking, the most important Sa'udah of Shabbat is Sa'udah Shelishit, not Friday night. It's Sa'udah Shelishit. Ra'avin de Ra'avin. The highlight of the Shabbat is Sa'udah Shelishit. And when I mean Sa'udah, based on the Zohar HaKadosh, it means with bread. So you may say, Rabbi, I'm stuffed from lunch. Eat less in lunch. Einav hacham berosho. A wise man needs to have eyes in the head, not in the back. So if you know that, especially in the winter, that Shabbat is so short, and if it's short in Miami, I'm not sure how shorter it is in New York, probably an hour shorter. So yani, by the time you finish lunch, you need to come to Shul for Mincha and Sa'udah Shelishit again. In the summer, it's much easier. And that's what the Zohar HaKadosh says. It says, don't reverse the Kedusha of the Shabbat. Make the Sa'udah Shelishit, because that is one of the key elements for the proper aspect of Shabbat. The Zohar HaKadosh continues. Candle lighting in honor of Shabbat. We know candle lighting was a mitzvah established by our holy rabbis, and a mitzvah given to the Jewish wife for the avon of Adam and Hava. How many candles does a wife needs to light in honor of Shabbat? Minimum 2. Many people light more. People light 7 days of the week. People light for every child. People light for every grandchild. But from a standard halacha perspective, 2 candles are required, preferably with oil, which is beneficial for the proper success in the education of our children. That's what the Gemara says. Azahir bener. The idea is not to use candles, but to use olive oil, as the Mishnah writes, En madlikin ella b'shemen zayid bilbad. That's another way of enhancing the mitzvah. You know, people use tea lights. Beautiful. People use long candles. Beautiful. But we need to know that the ideal way of the Shabbat candles is with olive oil. And there is a Kabbalistic reason why. The Kaf HaHaim brings this down in the laws of Hanukkah, that when you light the menorah or Hanukkah, add a bit of water, mostly oil, and light the candle, and light the wick. Why these 3 components? Because these 3 components are representative of Torah. The water is Torah, the oil represents the brain of the Torah, and the fire represents Torah or. The mitzvah is the candle, and the fire is Torah. So the Kaf HaHaim writes that when you add a bit of water into the olive oil, now you have Torah in a 3-way dimension. So from an enhanced observance of candle lighting, olive oil is on top of the list. Let's concentrate on the minimum halachic requirement, which is 2 candles. One Zachor, one Shamor, the Zohar says. One to remember the Shabbat, and one to observe the Shabbat. What's the difference between remembering the Shabbat and observing the Shabbat? Protecting the Shabbat, that's the meaning of the word Shamor. Short answer, positive Shabbat and negative aspect of Shabbat. Meaning to say, I celebrate the Shabbat by eating, drinking, praying, learning, sleeping, all the good things that a person does at home and at the synagogue. That is of the Zachor. But then I have Shamor. What's the meaning of Shamor? The limitations that the Shabbat brings upon the person. How do we determine if a person is Shomer Shabbat? We don't determine that a person is Shomer Shabbat, because we do Friday night dinner at home. That's a nice, social, beautiful thing to do. And don't stop doing that. But when we say the word Shomer Shabbat, what does it mean? That we say the person is Shomer Shabbat. That a person really observes the Shabbat properly. Doesn't touch money, doesn't drive, doesn't uses the cell phone, doesn't check their emails. Basically, the person disconnects from the physical, technological world in order to bring the physical world into a Shabbat mode. That is the meaning of a basic requirement of Shomer Shabbat. So the Ben Ish Hai, interesting enough, it brings something fascinating, which I said in the Spanish class, and it says as follows. The word ner, the numerical value is 250. So we have 2 candles, 250 plus 250, 500. Comes the Ben Ish Hai and it says, in the human body, in the men's department, how many body parts men have? 248. How many body parts a lady has? 252. Collective, it gives me 500. So the Ben Ish Hai says that when the wife lights the candles in honor of Shabbat, she's not only lighting the candle for Adam and Hava incident back in Bereshit, but she's lighting a candle, one for her and one for the husband. Beautiful, beautiful pirush. Thank you. Let's continue. One more. The Zohar says that the dining room of a Yehudi resembles the Bet HaMikdash. In the Bet HaMikdash, outside, let me go back. On the outside of the Bet HaMikdash, we had the Azara, we have the courtyard, we have the Mizbeach. And then there was the Ulam, right? A hall. Then there was a Parochet in the middle, and behind that was the Kodesh HaKodashim. I'm going to talk about a minute about this social hall, let's can call them in American words. And I'm going to design something to understand the diagram of this room and how this, in a way, represents our Shabbat table. So let's make believe this fellow in the middle is the Kohen. You see him? Special hat. Towards the entrance was the Mizbeach of the Ketoret. This is where the Kohen will mix the 11 spices of the Ketoret. Let's make believe that I'm the Kohen, okay? So to my right, I have the Shulchan. The Shulchan was the table that it contained the compartments of the 12 breads in the Bet HaMikdash. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's why, according to Rabbeinu Ha'ari, you should put 12 rolls or 12 piras on your Shabbat table. And then across from the table, what do we have? The menorah. You know what the Zohar says? This is your Shabbat table, and this is your Shabbat candles. So it is, I like to say the following. It is appropriate that the candles of Shabbat should be in the same room where the Shabbat table is, because we are mimicking, exactly, we are mimicking this ulam of the location where these items were in the Bet HaMikdash. The Ben Ish Hai adds that when a person comes from the synagogue Friday night, should look at the candles, and is beneficial for healthy eyes. And many people do it before Kiddush, or in the middle of the Kiddush, but definitely look at them because they carry great beracha. The next one, and I apologize, please erase this, Professor, I will need it soon. I'm continuing, and I'm only up to number 5. Number 5th step, we went netilah, bread, 3 meals, candle lighting, making Kiddush. Making Kiddush on Shabbat is, thank you so much, blue marker please, thank you. Thank you so much, thank you. Making Kiddush on Shabbat, it's a mitzvah ta'aseh mideoraita. It's a positive commandment from the Torah. Our rabbis established to make the Kiddush with wine. So the Zohar explains the concept of baychulu. Now, we use a Kiddush cup. How do you say a cup in Hebrew? Kos. I know cup in Yiddish means head, cabeza. Yiddish a cup. But kos in Hebrew means what? A cup. The Zohar says the numerical value of the word kos, it's 86, which is numerical value of Hashem's name, Elokim. Elokim is the name of Hashem. I'm saying Elokim because I'm talking, but the kof is to be replaced with a he. This is Hashem's name of judgment. Of judgment. Baychulu, which is the first word or the third word of the Kiddush, Yom HaShishi, Vaychulu, numerical value of word Vaychulu, 72, which is numerical value of the word Hesed. So you have Hesed and Elokim. You have Hesed and Din. You have judgment and kindness. Continues the Zohar Kadosh, and it says that the zechut of the Kiddush cup, Mehila, the zechut of a person sanctifying the Shabbat minimizes the judgment against the person. I like to add a few things. Can you erase this one, please? Since I'm already talking, let me give you the extended version. I want you to look at the whiteboard here. Mehila, I made a mistake. I apologize. I'm writing this backwards, but doesn't matter. Just follow my Yom HaShishi. You see the first letter? Yod. Sorry. Yod. Yom. HaShishi. He. The third word of the Kiddush. Baychulu. Vav. Hashamayim, he. Yod, ke, vav, ke. Hashem's name of compassion. So once we say, Yom HaShishi Baychulu Hashamayim, think for a second. Yod Ke Vav Ke, Hashem's name of compassion. So far so good? Can you erase this? I need it again. Now, in the Kabbalistic tradition, Friday night, Copenhagen, very nice, Shabbat Shalom. Oh, Shabbat there, I think is close to 11 o'clock at night tonight, probably. Right? 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. So they have plenty of time to listen to the shiur. All right. Unbelievable, yes. No, because Vatikin is at 2 o'clock in the morning, so you barely sleep. Anyways, you know that there is a Kabbalistic tradition of adding water to the Kiddush Friday night. And many who know this tradition, we say a verse, we say a pasuk that says, Male yadenu mibirchotecha me'osher matenot yadecha. I did not write the full sentence, but you can find this in the weekday Hamidah of Barech Alenu. Now we say in Barechenu. But in Barech Alenu, at least in the Sephardic Siddur, you'll find this sentence, which means, Male, fill, Yadenu, our hands, Mi birchotecha, from your blessings, Me'osher, wealth, Matenot, gifts, Yadecha. I wrote it in Rashi Tevot, because this is too small. But look at this word, Maim, Maim, Miami. True. Why do you think it's called Miami? Look. Miyam. From either way, we are surrounded by water. From the south, from the east, from the west, etc. Now, why do we add the water in the wine? Short answer, the Zohar says two words. Metikat hadinim, sweetening of judgment. Okay, sweetening of judgment. Wine is a catch-22 drink. If it's limited in small amount, is okay, is acceptable. But if has v'shalom, it goes, the more wine a person drinks, in a single meal I'm talking about, the more dangerous is for the person. So from this we understand that the wine has something called dinim. The wine, the color of the wine, the redness of the wine represents, regretfully, the color of blood. That's why in certain Hasidic groups, they don't make Kiddush on a Friday night between the 6th and the 7th hour, because the mazal of that hour, it's called Duma. Dam, red, Adom. Esav, it's called Edom. Halachically, no problem. But in certain Hasidic groups, if they cannot make Kiddush at 6 o'clock in the winter, they wait till 7. And I notice that many of you already are familiar with what I just said, so I'm so happy, because I didn't want anybody to say, we never heard such a thing. So there is such, in other words, this is Akev. How many years are we making the Kiddush? And now, how many new things we are learning? And I'm only number 5. So the Zohar explains that when we take water, Maim, which is Maim, is Beracha. Maim is Beracha. And we drop 3 drops. That's all you need to drop into the wine. and you say this verse, you are mitigating the judgment that the wine can bring upon the person. In the olden days, everyone put water into the wine in order to minimize the strength of the wine. In the time of the Talmud, the wine wasn't today like the wine that we drink today. To drink, you drink 1, 2, 3 cups of wine, especially Pesach. It doesn't affect us as it used to be in the time of the Talmud. There used to be a rabbi, I think Rabbi, that he drank wine for Pesach, and the next time he was able physically to drink wine was Shavuot. Because that's how much the wine affected people in those days. Let's continue, Rabbotai. The Zohar says that a person should make sure that the cup of wine is full to capacity. Why? It's a pasuk that says, Al kos yain maleh kevirkat Hashem. Hashem's blessings come complete. I personally, and I'm sure many people do it, I fill the wine to the tap, then I spill the 3 drops of wine, and I say the special prayer that I mentioned before, and I make sure to spill, the cup should overspill in order to have great beracha at home. But I don't want to hear complaints from the wives on Sunday. Rabbi, my husband messed up the table, spilled the wine all over. You have to be a hacham. Get a special plate for the wine. And make sure to put a napkin underneath. The idea is not to make a mess, but the symbolic overflowing is a symbolic overflowing of Hashem's blessings into the life of the person. Number 6, Torah. Saying words of Torah. The Zohar doesn't bring something that I wanted to say, but I'm going to say it anyways. The power of blessing children on Shabbat night. The Ben Ish Hai brings this down clearly, as well as many other sources, and we learned this from Rabbeinu Ha'ari, who used to go to his mother's home prior to going home to kiss her hand and to get a blessing from her. So if you look in all of the Sidurim, some have it before Kiddush, some have it after Kiddush, they all bring the power of blessing children Friday night. And even though, I know your question, Rabbi, my kids live out of town, what do? You still do it. I do it. My kids are out of town. I don't have any kids now. They all are up north. They like more New York than Florida. Okay, but same thing by you, and same thing by you, and by you also. Okay? It doesn't matter. Take a few moments after the Kiddush, after you say Shabbat Shalom to your wife, obviously, and if your mother is with you, you say Shabbat Shalom to your mom, to your relatives, but take a few moments to bless your children, because there is a special power that the blessing of the parents carry on a Shabbat night. Number 6, the Zohar says the concept of saying words of Torah. And even though you may say, why is there a need to say words of Torah on the Shabbat table? I'm already making the Sa'udah of Shabbat. That is a mitzvah. And we have a rule that says that if you are occupying one mitzvah, you may be exempt of the other. The Zohar HaKadosh says, correct, but not correct. Why? It says the Zohar HaKadosh, because the Sa'udot of the Shabbat, what makes the Sa'udah of the Shabbat, Sa'udah of Shabbat? Not the menu. Not the menu. What happens if you are stuck someplace and you have nothing else to eat but a can of tuna, sardines, and a tomato and cucumber and mayonnaise? That Sa'udah is considered your Sa'udah of Shabbat, based on your circumstances. The Zohar HaKadosh says that the words of the Torah, they are part of the shulchan of the table. And it says that a person, through words of Torah, it brings additional chesed from HaKadosh Baruch Hu into the person's life. the Zohar says something so powerful. It's difficult to translate this into English. You know what it says, the Zohar Kadosh? Invite the rabbi to your home for Shabbat meal. Thank you. But I'm taken for this Shabbat. I can put you on the list for the future. Anyways, let's understand why the Zohar says to say words of Torah. The Zohar says, if you don't know what to say, invite the Talmid Chacham. But today with technology and audio classes and printouts, it's very easy to have access to words of Torah. But the Zohar Kadosh writes and it says, Kashin mezonotav shel adam kekeriat yam suf. Challenging and difficult is the parnasa of a person like the splitting of the Red Sea. Gemara Pesachim 1:18. And the question is, why? Why parnasa and the splitting of the Red Sea is difficult? Or what's the connectivity between the splitting of the Red Sea and the parnasa of the person? I'll give you the short version, the Zohar says. We know the happy ending of the splitting of the Red Sea. We all know the happy ending. The Red Sea was split, and the Jewish people were able to cross. The Egyptians drowned, and that was the end of the story. Then we're moving towards the land of Israel. Because of the hiccup of the spies, it took 40 years delay. But why the Gemara writes that the splitting of the Red Sea was a very challenging and difficult accomplishment? Or remove the word accomplishment, was a difficult miracle. If Hashem did the 10 Makot, Dam, Sephardea, Akinim, the 10 plagues in Egypt, what's the big deal of doing the Red Sea split? You took the water, you made it blood. So split the water. Why the Gemara uses the word difficulty when it came to the splitting of the Red Sea? You know what the Zohar hints? And I know what he's hinting because I read it elsewhere. That at the moment that Keriat Yam Suf was about to happen, in Shamaim there was a kitrug against the Jewish people, the Zohar says. What was the kitrug? Why the Jewish people should be deserving of the miracle of the splitting of the Red Sea, and the Egyptians will drown by the Red Sea. Halalu abdei avodah zarah, halalu abdei avodah zarah. The Jewish people were involved in idolatry, and the Egyptians were involved in idolatry. So every time there was an accusation against the Egyptians, there was a parallel accusation against the Jewish people. This means kitrug. Kitrug in English means accusation. That's why in the world of angels, we have mekatreg and we have a sanegor. Mekatreg means the malach that accuses the person. Sanegor means the malach that defends the person. The Zohar Kadosh writes and it says, when it comes to parnasa, to the person, Shamaim also determines, is this person deserving parnasa or not deserving parnasa? Based on this, the Zohar says, do you want to reverse dinim from your life? Do you want to reverse judgment from your life? Bring Torah to your table. And the Zohar says, the Torah is representative of the Yemin. Yemin Hashem Romema, Yemin Hashem Osahail, Mimino eshtatlamo. All these verses talk about the right side, the Torah. So from here the Zohar says, dinim is accusation, and Torah is represented by the right side of things. And the right side represents the Hesed. So when Torah is spoken on the Shabbat table, that opens the fountains of blessing for the life of the person. And obviously, you can read, as I said before, today, there are so many easy to read books with short commentaries on the Torah, on the Perashah, on Emunah, that makes it very enjoyable and very easy to have an enhanced Shabbat table. Additionally, the Zohar says, step number 6 is the concept of having aniim, the concept of inviting poor people to come to the home. Now, in the olden days, poor people were traveling freely, so to speak, and there were synagogues in the olden days that they used to provide special se'udot for the travelers and for the aniim. And they knew, they come to the shul, there will be Shabbat dinner, Shabbat lunch. As the years went by, I think that this tradition is no longer a reality, but the Zohar talks about the concept of inviting aniim to the people, and the Zohar brings another pasuk that it says, Uzdaka tasil mimavet. It says to the zechut of a person giving charity, the person can even be spared, God forbid, even from death, the way Shlomo HaMelech writes. So in our days, perhaps will be to help needy people to have a beautiful and a meaningful Shabbat. Step number 8, the Zohar says the concept of Mayim HaHaronim. Mayim HaHaronim, Hoba. The literal meaning of Mayim HaHaronim means the final waters. There are 3 types of water when it comes to Se'udah. All of them have to do with the washing of the hand. One washing of the hands, as we described in the beginning, is before eating bread. Then there is the water called Mayim Emsa'im, the water of the middle. Meaning to say, in order to separate fish and meat, the person should rinse their mouth and dry and wash their fingertips, wash their hands, and then proceed to eat meat. And people eat in between to create a physical separation in the digestive system, because the combination of fish and meat simultaneously in the body of the person can bring, God forbid, physical side effects. But as we learned a long time ago, meat and fish and bread and wine, the common denominator between them is that in Hebrew all equal number 7. Yain 77, halaf 437, meat, basar 502, 502, 5 and 2 is 7, dag is 4 and 3 is 7. So all these foods that we are referring to on Shabbat are connected to number 7. Now, then we have Mayim HaHaronim. The Zohar explains, based on the Gemara, that one of the reasons why our rabbis establish the concept of a person washing the fingertips. If you remember the beginning of this class, Netilat Yadayim all the way, Mayim HaHaronim, fingertips. Netilat Yadayim, you say a blessing, you lift up your hands. Mayim HaHaronim, you just say Mayim HaHaronim, Hoba. Hoba. What's the meaning of the word Hoba in English? Mandatory, right? Obligation. Now, why is there an obligation to wash the fingertips? There are communities that they don't do this. Is it right or not right? I'm not here to judge. But according to what we learn in the Halakha and in the Zohar, Mayim HaHaronim Hoba, mandatory. And the question is, why? I don't say hanahat tefillin choba. Putting on tefillin is mandatory. For everyone, including ladies. Yes, sure. Okay. Now, I know you know. I know you know. I'm saying it. Hi, shalom. Those who watch the class know that I don't mince words. Sometimes I try to be more refined and delicate, but if something needs to be said for the benefit of the kahal, I definitely say it. Now the question is, why mandatory? The Zohar gives one reason. The takana of Mayim Aharonim was established to prevent physical blindness in the person. The Gemara calls it Melach Sedomit. We need to understand, 2,000 years ago, salt was utilized as a preservative and even as cooking. And the fact that fingers came in constant contact with salt, the fear that a person eating meal, bread and salt, etc., and then rubbing their eyes will bring eventual blindness to the body of the person. And we have a rule in the Talmud that says, Hamira sakanta mi isura. It's worse not to do something that can be dangerous to the human body than committing a transgression from the Torah. For example, the Torah halakha is, on Shabbat, I don't use a cell phone. But what if I need to call Hassalah? Can I use the cell phone or not? I apologize for the unexpected interruption. Bear with me a second, please. Can I use a cell phone or not? The short answer is yes. I am allowed to use a cell phone. Why? Pikuach nefesh. If you're a tzala responder, I'm not happy. I am a Hatzalah responder. Okay? What is the story with that? I'm allowed to. Why? Because I'm saving people's life. So we understand that when it comes to pikuach nefesh, when it comes to saving people's life, I need to do what I need to do. And the Torah will not qualify my usage of a cell phone or doing something forbidden to save someone's life as an avon. But what happened if I put my life in danger? Asur. Ushmartem me'ot et nafshotechem. There is a mitzvah from the Torah of protecting the body of the person. So when it comes to Mayim Aharonim, if I don't do Mayim Aharonim, I'm exposing myself to a certain type of danger. You may say, Rabbi, it makes sense 2,000 years ago, 1,500 years ago. But the salt that I use, Morton salt, is not from Sodom or Himalayan salt. Himalayan salt could be. I'm not sure, but today is very popular, Himalayan salt. You understand? So, nevertheless, we have a rule. When takanat hachamim are in place, we don't move them. But the Zohar says elsewhere that the word choba is not a good word. In what sense? The root word of choba is hayav. Hayav means guilty, liable. Hayav mita, has v'shalom. Ata hayav leshalem lo. You are obligated to pay him. The Zohar says that when we do Mayim Haronim, we say Mayim Haronim Hobah. We say to the Tum'ah known as Hobah, as one of the name of the Malach, I believe it is, that distributes affliction to the person's life, we give him a share. That's why in some circles, when they do Mayim Haronim, they say a pasuk, Ze Helek Adam Ra. I'm giving this to Esav. So what do we understand now? That Mayim Haronim is Esav, and Netilat Yadayim is Yaakov Avinu. Not only that, the pasuk says, "Beitkadishtem beitem kedoshim ki kadosh ani." Pasuk in Safra Vayikra. 3 times the word kedusha is mentioned. Kadosh, kadosh, kadosh. Like we do in the synagogue whenever we have a minyan. Beit kadishtem, you will sanctify yourself. Maim rishonim, netilah before bread. Beitem kedoshim, netilah between fish and meat. And ki kadosh ani, maim haronim. So the Zohar says that a person that is careful with these 3 washings of the hands, the person brings upon themselves kedusha. We know the difference. The first one, cup, 3 to the right, 3 to the left, rub your hands, beracha. The second one, you don't need a cup. You just put your hands under the sink, do like this, rinse your mouth, and Mayim Haronim, only the fingertip and the water goes down into the cup. Number 9, the Zohar says, Kos shel beracha. Kos shel beracha is usually seen in a Shiv'a berachot. We make the zimun, we have a minyan, we say we have the cup of Birkat Hamazon, the cup of Shiv'a berachot, but here the Zohar says that whenever we have zimun, we should do kos shel beracha. You hold the cup in your hands, you say Birkat Hamazon, at the end you say kos Yeshuot, Savri Maranan, and Borei Peri Hagefen. And it says that you share it with your wife, with your family, etc. And then the Zohar Kadosh adds one more thing, and it says that Shelosha Serichim Kos. Our rabbis made a takana that whenever 3 people are eating a sa'udah together, meaning to say zimun, you should say kos shel beracha, especially on Shabbat night. And the Zohar says why? Because the 3 Yehudim sitting together is the representation of Abraham, Ishaq, and Yaakov. As the pasuk says, Bakol mikol kol, Abraham Avinu says, Ba'ashem berachet Abraham bakol, Yaakov said, Yesh li kol, and Ishaq says, Ba'uchal mikol. All this concept of kol that comes connecting Abraham, Ishaq, and Yaakov with Am Israel, and this is how the Zohar of yesterday concluded to have the 10 steps. Let's talk about Birkat Hamazon for a minute or 2. Birkat Hamazon, Mizvat Aseh, from the Torah, found in this week's Torah portion. Actually, is the only beracha from the Torah. All the other berachot that we say were established by our Hachamim. And the Gemara writes clearly, and the Halakha brings it down from many sources, that a person that is careful to recite Birkat Hamazon properly from the book, not looking around, not texting, not walking around, but actually sitting down, properly dressed. Halakha, Hacham Ovadia Yosef says, if a person has a jacket and a hat, to put it on for Birkat Hamazon. Yes. Relax. You don't have to buy a hat now. Relax. You don't need to. The idea of the halakha, I think, is that a person should understand you are now blessing a Kadosh Baruch Hu. You know how the Ben Ish Hai calls Birkat Hamazon? The sit-down Amidah. That's it. To put the hands like this, like in the Amidah, sitting down, your feet together, looking to the book, and with happiness. And there is a guaranteed. Kol hazahir bebirkat hamazon. A person that is meticulous in reciting Birkat Hamazon, word by word, listening to the words, as we learned this 2 weeks ago in the 2-day class of the Birkat Hamazon, guaranteed. Shelo yahsaru lo mezonotav me'al shulchano. Guaranteed that bread will never be lacking from the table of the person. I will do everyone a favor. 2 favors. Number 1, I'm going to finish the class now. But number 2, I like to review quickly, just in a single or 2 words, the 10 steps of the Zohar suggested movement for Shabbat night at home. Now, I don't want to create a revolution in everyone's home. I'm only creating an awareness how small steps, which apparently may not be a big deal, can enhance the beauty and the value of the mitzvah, which in a way is the title of today's parasha. So step number 1 mentioned by the Zohar, washing of the hands before eating bread, chalot on the table, the 3 saudot with bread, candle lighting, making kiddush at home, properly wine, water, etc., saying words of Torah, inviting needy to the Shabbat table or helping the needy in honor of Shabbat perhaps, doing Maimah Haronim, making Zimun if possible when you have 3 men, making Zimun, and the Zimun should have Kos Shel Beracha. The Zimun should have also a cup of wine. So we started the Shabbat Kiddush with wine, and we're finishing the Sa'udah of Shabbat with wine as well. So my good friends, I'd like to wish everybody a Shabbat Shalom u'mevorach. It's good to be back, and we'll say Kaddish al Israel right after Rabbi Hananiah. Rabbi Hananiah.